Interesting stuff came out earlier this week in the wrestling world. It was to do with Logan Paul and Kevin Nash. They got into a little bit of a spat. Where it stemmed from was what it was. Kevin Nash does his Click This podcast with the guy Sean Oliver that used to do all the U-shoots and all that other stuff, kayfabe commentaries. And they were responding to how when Logan Paul did an interview on his podcast Impulsive with Hulk Hogan, how Logan Paul wasn't aware of the work shoot wrestling jargon. And then Kevin Nash starts really laying into Logan Paul. He said, quote, "He's not one of the boys. Where would he learn that shit at? Where's he effing going up and down the road effing talking about our effing jargon? In the building? Everyone's in their own effing motor coach. There's no effing interaction. There's no socialization." Which apparently I thought that was a bit more of a thing now that Vince was gone, McMahon. And then it goes on, "You don't become one of the boys just because you're around them. That motherfucker, from what I heard, he's making like $5 million for the limited effing, and those other motherfuckers are out there making house shows. F you. I don't give an F how many people are following you. If it said you had effing 24 effing million road scholars following you, motherfucker, I mean, I would be like, dude, you are effing Jesus. You got a bunch of effing idiots." And one thing, it sounded pretty strong when I first read it, but then I actually watched the clip. I watched it from the podcast. I wasn't just going by how it, by reading it. I watched Nash as he was saying it, and he did kind of like a bit of a, I don't know, you call it like a wry smile on his face, which, I don't know, it kind of, to me, it felt like maybe he was just working and he didn't really feel this strongly. Nash has gone on rants before about certain things in the business, certain people in the business. It's well documented, He likes to stir the pot. He likes to stir the shit, right? So I don't know if he really meant that, with what he was really saying, or he was just trying to, maybe just help get some more views and subscribers for his podcast, and that it would get people talking on the internet. Maybe that's all what it was. But then you had Logan Paul. So this was reading here, Logan Paul worked himself into a shoot. He fired back at Kevin Nash in a brief video on social media. He claimed to not know who Nash was, and then he referred to him as pathetic. He said, I said, damn, who is Kevin Nash? And I mean that. I'm unfamiliar with this guy, which I think that's his problem. I'm not as versed in the WWE and wrestling as maybe I should be, as my peers are. But then how am I so much better than all of them? I don't have the answers to these questions. It is a question. I don't know how I could be the best in WWE, or at least one of the best. Like, I'm surely a top fiver, and I don't even do it full time. Now, imagine if I did learn a little bit. Imagine if I became one of the boys, learn what the difference between a work and a shoot and a work was. Would that make me a champion? F me, F you. You're one of the old guys who's better at your job than you ever were, and that makes you pathetic. This will be my sport, and I will continue to make guys like you eat your words when I devote a little bit of time to it. So fuck me, fuck you. And there you have it. That's what Logan Paul said. It's a weird one. On this one, I'm kind of more actually on the side of Logan Paul, and I'll explain why. I think, number one, it coming from Kevin Nash, it seems awful kind of hypocritical when he's playing the whole "you're not one of the boys" card. Because to me, it was like, was Kevin Nash ever really one of the boys when he was, politicking, when he was only looking out mainly and doing things where it would ultimately benefit just himself and his close buddies, Michaels, Hall, Waltman, Triple H, even if it was the expense of the other boys? You know what I mean? So for him to now just put this on Logan Paul, like to say, well, you're not really one of the guys, welcome there in the locker room, part of the show, because like you're an outsider. You got into this from your celebrity that you already had. I don't know. I think it's pretty hypocritical in my book, it coming from Kevin Nash. If it was like like somebody like an Undertaker or a Kurt Angle or Bret Hart saying it, I'd be like, you know what, fair enough. Their opinion carries a little bit more weight. I can respect their opinion more. But knowing how Nash operated in his career, it's like, no, I feel it's just like, it's just him shitting on people because, you know, that's his style. He's got an opinion on a lot of things. He likes to like fuck with people, and he's not afraid to shit on certain things that I guess he doesn't like. He did that with LA Knight, right? You know, and you know, I'm sure there's other people he's done it to as well. I think he's been quite critical of CM Punk in the past, and almost kind of like referring to him as like the Ultimate Warrior, and kind of how he reacted with all that stuff with the brawl out and Jack Perry. But excuse me, but yeah, I don't know. It's just coming from Kevin Nash. It would almost be like as well, like if a Bully Ray said something like that, I'd just be like, hey, shut the fuck up, you know. It's like, if anything, you guys were more toxic. Yous were, in a way, kind of a liability in the business. You did a lot of good, but at the same time, it's like you did a lot of bad as well. And but another thing that I got from this whole thing as well, it's like, so Logan Paul's been around for about what, three and a half years in WWE, and he still isn't familiar with the work shoot terminology. That does, I mean, that if that is true, does surprise me. But that's maybe a bit of a pointer. That's an indicator that, like, as much as, you know, they make out like the business is so open now, and it's easy for, well, I say easy, but it's more accessible to get in, to train, to become a professional wrestler, right? And also it's more accessible with the outside the media, with all the people, with all the dirt sheet guys and all the people, the Sean Ross Sapps and all those people like that with their podcasts that can get interviews with the rest, with WWE, where they know they can get asked softball questions, they won't ruffle any feathers. With that, it kind of surprises me that, like, it seems to me anyway, that there's that like old school wrestling mentality of you don't get them too clued up, the outsiders, on how we speak in our language. It's maybe that old school kind of kayfabe thing. Where I think it was Rene Dupree talking about this, or someone else. Was it maybe when Bill Apter does like a podcast, I think, and it was like, they're saying that any time that was somebody that wasn't there, an outsider that wasn't part of the show, and they were in the locker room, they came in the locker room, right away somebody would say kayfabe. So that was like that's the code word of we're not gonna reveal the secrets of the work of what we do behind the scenes with making the match and everything. And maybe there's that element there that, you know, that Logan Paul, you know, despite being quite a fairly integral part of the product, the programming. I mean, he was US champion for what, a good few months, right? I mean, working, you know, main event matches in Saudi with Roman Reigns, but yet he's not been let in on how these guys talk and the jargon. What does this mean? What does that mean? That seems a little bit kind of like that old school wrestling mentality that I thought would have went away. That, what, not even like, I don't know, like a Roman Reigns or a top guy sat him down and really showed you, look, this is how the business works, kid. And this is what we do. This is the shit that we do. I don't know. So it's a weird one. When I think about it, I thought, he doesn't seem like he's like a smart wrestling fan. That's for sure. Like, I mean, I give the guy credit. You know, he is a very hard worker and puts the work in, good physique, has a presence to him, and from the little I've seen of him in the ring, has really picked it up very quickly. Like, he's a natural. You wouldn't think he's just a celebrity that's got into wrestling. You think this guy's maybe been training for quite some time and has become very good. And he is good. But yeah, that seems a little bit like there is still that old school, and maybe, I don't know what you could say, that's Triple H and Michaels there, that's them. They've still got that in them, and it's been passed, you know, it's there, it's established firmly amongst the talent, you know, male and female, that you don't let insiders in on all this stuff, on how we speak. Because